If you're new to this session, just to let you guys know that my name is Shubham, and I have been working in pen testing for quite a few years now. Pretty good at what I'm doing. And I just decided one day to just give back to the community. And I see a lot of people suffering from this exam, that OSCP exam, and it's a lot of people who are not able to comprehend. I see a lot of people giving up as well, which I mean, it's your choice, but I'm gonna do whatever it takes from my side to give back to the community and make sure that you guys can still have hope whenever you guys are giving the exam. This OSCP exam is one of the most hardest exam on in the secure cybersecurity environment. Very reputable. I got mine, if you can see, right there, up there, and I got mine last year in COVID, when everything was on the pinnacle of COVID, and I just decided, yeah, let me just do something different, much more difficult, something which challenges me. So I took the exam, but before that, I did a lot of research. I did that at that time. That there were not a lot of YouTube videos for OSCP studies, so I had to just use my OSINT knowledge, open source intelligence knowledge, to read from the syllabus and then learn from it. So I built my entire textbook out of just the syllabus by Google searches. And I think a lot of people jump into this field by not learning how to do proper Google search of important information. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to give you my entire brain dump, because you can find that easily online. It's pretty boring to me. Just giving my entire knowledge, not knowing what location you're from in your journey to OSCP. It's a marathon, it's not a race, just an FYI. So it's you have to learn by yourself on how to do this, and the try harder mentality is something which I like, not because it's kind of condescending, but because it pushes you to utilize your creativity in learning this field. And a lot of Google search is required. I Google search during my exam. Since this is an open source exam, you can Google from anywhere, and Google anything. So I did Google searches. Every experienced pen tester Google searches everything. I mean, they jump into it environment. They have a scope. They run basic Nmap scans. That's it. And then everything is Google search on how to do things. So if someone tells you that, oh yeah, you should be doing this by yourself, and on the YouTube videos they show up that, and they start typing like a ninja, and you don't know what's going on. Keep in mind that they did 50 Google searches before building that YouTube video, and by that time they have the steps memorized, or they have it on a different window as well. So it's not rainbows and sunshine. It's pretty much recorded everything. So it's but in our sessions we are not going to do that. I'm going to show you behind the scenes on how it works. How does a hacker think like, how you should think like, and hopefully you guys crack one of the exams and then give me the good news that, hey dude, I was in your session and I cracked the exam, or came close to cracking it. That's a win for me too. As long as you're not giving up, that's a win for me. So I think we are 1 minute away from our session. I've already started the recording. If you guys have any questions, please just type it in. Don't wait for me to look into it. I get a notification on my phone as well whenever I get a message. So just type in a message in Twitch and I will respond to that as well. Because most of the time this entire Twitch, the Streamlabs, what I'm using, is hidden in the back. So I'm not actually monitoring it. But I usually monitor my phone because it's right in front of me. I need someone to support me when I'm old. Yeah, dude. Same. Oh, that's a good question. Crazy ass Coop. I use a ton of tools, but the most essential ones, depending on what I'm doing. Um, Nmap is just for the first of the first things which you need to do. You get an IP address, or you get a website, and I'm bringing in a bug bounty as well into this. You get a website or an IP address. You find out what the actual website is, IP address is, and through one of the commands, and then you push that into Nmap. Once you do that, you just get a bunch of services which are running. The most easiest way to get into environment is through services, hacking these services. And that's basically all of OSCP. It's not rocket science. It's definitely the most easiest exam in offensive security, but not in the entire planet. So you hack through the ports and make sure that if there is any older version of the ports, services open, you exploit it, and then you move laterally or vertically, depending on how you got the environment, got the user shell. So the low hanging fruit kind of thing is true, because that's what you get unless you get a root access, which is incredible because that's when you are in the system. But I use Nmap, then I use Dirbuster. I use instead of Nmap, sometimes I use Zenmap, just because I want to document it, and they have a little bit of colors. It helps for non-technical people to see what ports are open, what services are running. So whenever I'm doing assessments for other companies, I usually put in use Zenmap. It's a GUI enabled, and that helps me to take good screenshots. Second of all, I use a lot of Dirbuster to directory busting. There's a lot of word lists which are available in Kali built in, so you can go through it as well. And there's a lot of it which goes moving forward from there, but most of them are just GitHub tools which are open source. And I'll show you in my entire sessions moving forward what tools are required and what tools I use for my work. I simplified a lot. I don't usually depend on just, if there is a generator online, I would actually visit that generator. Just like yesterday I did, I'm going to show you. I'm going to actually show this screen over here. There we go. So yeah, I use, what was that? 0-day exposed reverse shell. So this is what we did yesterday. I was actually showing this off to people as I found it on Twitter. This is a reverse shell generator. Basically what it is. It has all sorts of reverse shell available, and I use these things. I don't usually craft my own because it's too much of a time, and during an actual pen test, time is only the thing which you need. If you can buy more time, that's much more better. But I'm usually on a tight budget of time, so it's very hard for me to actually, wait and then Google search more of how to do, Bash UDP or Perl reverse shell. So I just Google search that, and it's pretty easy. So that's basically it. I depend a lot on online stuff available. That's how I have taught myself, and that's how I keep teaching myself and people. And usually it's the most easiest way to go in. You don't need to learn the whole world. I use WorldScan, but I was told you can't. I don't know if you can, man. WorldScan, I don't even know what that is. I maybe used it, but all data is bad. Does it pen test for you though, or is it just a scanner, or is it an auto pen tester? Because you cannot use auto pen testers in OSCP. Just let me know if this is a straight up pen test. Looks like it. Oh, okay. It has a string scanner and this assembly scanner. So like Ghidra, but much more small scale. Oh, is the wrong one? What's the correct one? This one? .9 stars, 1.9k stars. Oh yeah, this looks like it. Oh, okay, I see what it is. It's the NSE scripts, right? Yeah, it looks like it because it's instead of you typing the script name by doing, I'll show you. Not this, man. Yeah. So instead of typing scripts, Nmap, and then you type in the scripts over here, whichever you find through search exploit on Metasploit, you just go ahead and type that in. But here you have this entire module which has all the scripts, if I'm not wrong. Just tell me if, oh yeah, I'm correct. Okay. Okay, I actually, it's pretty cool though. Thanks for sharing that, because that makes things more easier. Detection. Oh, it's argument of detection is 0. Match parity. Yeah, it looks very powerful though, because it would actually save time for an amateur person who gets into cybersecurity to not search for the scripts first. Although they should know how to search for scripts, but come on, who does that? If you have something like this available, why would you spend time searching for scripts on Google as well as SearchPloit, and then implementing it? I wouldn't, but I would actually take care of this. I like this, and I'm going to keep that as priority. Oh, there we go, bookmark. Capiche. All right. So today's session is going to be slightly different. I was supposed to cover buffer overflow, and I prepared myself on how to do everything on it, but I was told that a lot of people did not know anything prior to that, and I was kind of jumping ahead of me whenever I was doing streams, last 2 streams, not knowing who my audience was, but I got to know yesterday when I did an entire marketing scheme of my stream on LinkedIn as well as Twitter and Reddit. But some of the people watched my YouTube videos and they said that they don't know half the stuff which I was talking about because they did not have the initial knowledge which was built up in OSCP's syllabus of how to do these services, as well as some of the command line tools like these, and I was told to cover that up, the entire number 3 module, as well as a little bit of number 2 module. So that's what I'm going to cover, but I am going to go ahead and let me just end this phone call. I'm just going to go ahead and push the buffer overflow, entire session of buffer overflow for today's Wednesday, right? So yeah, I do on Friday as well, so I'll put it on Friday for sure, and we'll cover buffer overflow at that time. But it's not hard. Buffer overflow is fairly easy. You just need to know the steps. If you write down the steps one by one on you whatever note taking app which you use, that's it. It's pretty straightforward. There's nothing rocket science about it. It's easy points. But without further ado, we'll cover number 2, number 3, as well as number, what is this? Passive information gathering. Once we are done with that, it comes to active information gathering. That's where all the tools come in, and that's the session which I can do with you guys later on as well. So without further ado, let's jump in. I don't want to take too much of your time. It's been 10 minutes and I've not done anything productive. Okay. So the way this goes is, if you're new, I just keep a blank slate in my head, like yourself if you're new to this stream, and I make sure that I don't know anything about anything, so that I'm learning with you and you're learning as well, like a study buddy. So just like you have it in college. It helps. It got me through college much easily. I wouldn't have done it by myself. And I think in this lonely journey of OSCP, you need a study buddy, and I can be that person, or I can stimulate or emulate that kind of person. So let's jump into the number two part. Number one part is just a little bit about OSCP. Um, this is something literature. It's not actually something which you need to worry about, because this is how the entire organization of OSCP is set up, and all the rules and regulations, which you can get it and learn it once you get this up, get the whole pay for the $15 amount, and then get the whole subscription for 90 days, which I recommend if you're new. But number two is just booting up Kali, everything inside it. I think the only thing important comes up over here, the HTTP service 2.5, managing Kali services. The SSH service is important because SSH service allows you to, it's not open by default, it's not working by default, so you have to actually do it manually over there. So if I do SSH, it's gonna come up, but in order to activate that service on port 80, no, port 25, I think so. Damn it, I should know this. SSH port should be 22. Yeah, 22. Yeah. Always get confused. I'm gonna remove this over here. Put this on this corner. All right. If you use systemctl, that enables this service from the start of your whenever you start up the entire Kali machine, and you can do, I think you can do enable SSH, and it enables whenever you start Kali. So you don't have to do this every single time, but once you do enable SSH, it's enabled by default. We can check systemctl status, SSH inactive. I have to restart my Kali machine, but I can do this and then do the status, and it's active, running. That's how you do most of the services on Kali. And it's important during exams to worry about this, because you would think that some services are active on the host machines, and this is not just exams, this is usually whenever doing your pen test. Some services are not inactive by default, and if you have user level shell, and you can escalate it for sudo, you can easily run these services and then connect your machine to that using the SSH service. Or if you have in order to do Apache, which is your HTTP service, I'll show you how Apache works on this. You just do systemctl status Apache 2. It's inactive. I start this up. Cool. Check it, the status, Apache is running. Press Q to get out of that. What Apache does, it's turning your computer into a web server. The reason how it works is you go to file systems, and then you go to, I think it's in var www, yeah, there we go, HTML. So any file within this www HTML will be used to be hosted on the internet. And then anything, if you have a netcat connection or wget connection, you can get those files from that server, which is your server, which you just created by running Apache 2 and activating that web server available. So so I have a file over here. I'm going to go ahead and open terminal and then touch test.txt. So file is created, text.txt. In order to access this, I need to open up, I need to check my IP address, ifconfig. It's this. So technically, if I go to a browser and then type this IP address, it literally comes to this page, hopefully 229.8. Yeah, So Apache is working, and then if I do a dir buster, oh, I hate this. Come on, I want the GUI. There we go. Oh, genius. If you're running Darburster, you need to make sure that you're typing http:// and then the IP address, because it doesn't accept it. Since Apache is working, I can use port 80 to connect. I need to supply it with word list because so what exactly Darburster does is it tries to bust a couple of directories inside your IP address, whichever you provide, making sure that your HTTP connection is open. So I'm just going to go ahead and user share, and you have a predefined word list in user shared word list Darburster. I usually select the medium, it's just to be safe. It literally comes up with every single thing on my Apache server, whatever is available. So it's going to directory bust everything, and all this are just directories. I can right click on it and I click on browse. It'll come up with something which is forbidden because I don't have access, but it'll show up like that. And yeah, that's usually how Darburster works. We can cover that up later on too whenever we are doing more studies, but that's the reason why you need Apache to be turned on by default whenever you're doing any pen test, so you can access any file. You don't want to transfer it, it's impossible to transfer, but Apache 2 is open. You can actually transfer that file. Like for example, there is an OpenVPN file which I want. This is from Hack the Box, so nothing different. I can go ahead and put it on into my HTML code and then just type wget. Hopefully this works. 172.16. Yeah, I'm gonna cover wget in a minute. I need to show how to cover it. So that's two of these services, and that's what the syllabus tells us to do. So we just open both of them and just move forward from there. Searching, installing, and removing tools is not that, because if you downloaded the actual version of Kali, the latest one, everything is updated by default. But you can go ahead and if you're sudo, or if you're a root user already, which I usually work as, because half the stuff doesn't work when I'm a Kali user, so it saves the embarrassment. So apt update should work with updating just my Kali machine, and I shouldn't have run that because now it's gonna take a long time anyways. And you can do upgrade as well. That upgrades the entire machine. Updates is only for applications. If you delete anything or you install anything, it's better to just do an apt update to make sure that everything is working in order and they have all the dependencies installed as well. apt cache as well as apt cache search and apt show. I don't know what that is. In order to know what that is, I am just going to put this in Google search. Okay, so if it's a problem while installing an apt package when you do not know the exact package name, okay, so it detects the package name. That's what it does. Search for, let's say, alien. Anyway, I want to install alien. Alien is for your transferring RPM packages to DEP, I think so. That's what it does, and you can do vice versa. Kali, it's literally the most amazing tool I've ever used. It changes RPM to Dpk. Where is that thing? Oh, Deb. Yeah, I'm sorry. Literally spaced out over there. it converts RPM files to deb. You want to use that whenever you're downloading Nmap, because Nmap is downloading as RPM file, and you can use alien alien commands to easily download the file. Yeah, it opens up, downloads as an RPM file, which you need to extract it as a Dpkg, and then use Dpkg to create a binary out of it. So works. Apt install remove purge is for removing the files or anything related to that, if there is any caches or everything related to that. So Dpkg is something important. I want to show you guys Dpkg. What it does is it's a package manager, and allows you to build an entire tool based out of it. It's just an extractor, just like you have WinZip for Windows. This is just basically what it does, and then builds the entire thing for you, so you don't have to do anything. You want to do that after you convert from the RPM to deb, and then use Dpkg to extract it properly. Okay, so that is done. Bash environment. I think this uses ZSH. With ZSH, the best part is what Kali did. It auto completes everything. So if I do, yeah. So if I do cd, I don't need to type anything. Just desktop comes up. If I do D and do a tab, both of these will be available. But the fact that there is a placeholder for desktop is because of this new feature of Kali, which auto completes everything. So all I have to do is this, and then that's it, and it will take me to the desktop. That's basically it. Tab completion is the same thing. Bash history tricks. You can access history for bash by just doing this, the top button, top arrow, or the bottom arrow. It does that, or you can do ls.la. It should be bash history somewhere here. Yeah, where is it? Where are you? Yeah, that is it. So whenever you are in your root directory, you can access bash underscore history. You can just do cd dot bash. Oh, sorry. You can just do bash. Oh, is it it's not a directory, sorry. There's no D in front of it. If there was a D in front of it, that means it's a directory, but this is just a file. So I can just do cat bash underscore history. Yep, that's it. That's all it shows up, because that's what I did in the root user. So also this is especially useful whenever you get a privilege escalation issue. You have a remote user inside the system, and as a lower user shell, and then you want to go ahead and check what the previous user has actually typed. Bash history will be the most useful thing you can ever see, because it's, first of all, it's hidden. You need to type ls-la to get that, and second of all, most people ignore that part, because what admins do is that they type whatever they type in bash, and this terminal shows up in the bash history. There's a way to delete it, and I can show you that, but they don't delete it. And if they don't delete it, you have the entire history. You can trace back, reverse engineer it, and then you can recreate what they did earlier, and then reverse engineering that to getting a privilege escalation. I've done that so many times in hack the boxes. Sometimes the actual owner of the box does not remove bash history, and then it literally helps me to check what they actually did, and then reverse engineering that. So small little tip, always works. So these things are the reasons why things get much easier. You just have to be vigilant of what's going on. If you guys have any questions, just send a message over here on Twitch. I'm actually looking into it now. And what else do we have? piping and redirection. And okay, so module number 3, how do you redirect to a new file? I'm just gonna Google that. Okay, I think what it's doing is it's whatever this test word is, or it could be any word, it could be just like testing or whatever, it's actually putting that into the actual .txt. What it does is, what this thing does is actually pipes the entire thing, whatever you type beforehand, into the actual file. This is particularly useful because whenever you are into terminal of a Windows, a Linux machine, and you get a lower user shell, and you don't have the ability to create a nano file, or you don't have vim installed, and those are the two text editors for terminal. I'm going to show that in a moment. You can use this to build up your entire script from scratch, and I can show you that in a second here. Accept. Yeah, so this was what I actually saw earlier. Was the most famous answer, I think so. I don't know if you guys can see it. If you guys can see it. There we go. Punch that in the end. Okay. For example, let me say that I go to desktop, ls clear, and I want to make a file and then start editing it. I usually use Nano. No hate on me if I'm using Nano for those VIM users or VI users, whatever. Nano works for me. It's most easiest, and as a hacker you should not take sides. You are the one who is utilizing these tools to hack stuff. So if it's Nano is not available, you should be coherent and at least knowledgeable of how to use VI. It's not that hard. It's the most easiest stuff ever, but Nano works. If you're extreme noob, you can use mousepad, and you can type test.txt, and an actual editor will open up, and you can type hi. Perfect. Save that up. Or you can use nano test.txt, and it comes up the same way. I can edit more stuff. This is from Nano. In order to save this, I want to do this thing over here, save it, exit. So I do control, this up arrow is for control, and then you press X. It asks you, do you want to save the buffer, which is just basically what this is. A buffer means just whatever you typed, and you want to click on press Y on your keyboard, and then you press enter. It saves it with that name. So if I type less test.txt, it will show up as this is from Nano, which I just typed. You press Q to end whenever you are facing with that editor thing. Now, let's say you are in an actual machine and they don't have mousepad, or they don't have any text editor, and they don't even have Nano. What do you do? What do you do in such situation when you have to build up a script, run it, and then make sure that the computer shuts down automatically once the script executes? You need to make sure that there is a cron job available if you want to create a cron job as well. Cron jobs are just automated tasks which works whenever you set up a timer on it. For example, I have a timer set up for my coffee to start every day at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when I wake up, and it starts by default, clockwork. The world is ending, but my coffee machine will start at 6 o'clock. That's an actual cron job, but not done through actual cron job. It's an actual setup I did through some of the automations. But on a Linux machine, cron jobs do the work for you. For example, you want to say that I want to update my Linux machines every 6 months, because Kali supposedly launches a new version every 6 months. you want to update it. You create a cron job for it, and then it will update. Let's say you want to go ahead, and this I did on my yesterday's tutorial on Netcat. Genius thing which I thought about is, let's go ahead and create an environment where we deploy a Raspberry Pi, and I actually took it from this person, Daniel Lowry, and I don't want to take credit for it, but I improvised on it, and I decided that, okay, let me just create an entire script, just a Netcat script, which is going to go ahead and give me the reverse shell every 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever I decide. And I deployed that in a cron job on my Raspberry Pi, put it in a different network in my house, and then go ahead and spin up an EC2 instance of AWS, and then reconnect it back to it. Every 2 minutes I got a reverse shell whenever I was listening on it. That's what cron job does. It gives you a request back whenever you're doing it. It's like your actual genie. It will do whatever you want it to do. That's enough for cron jobs. Let's say you want to edit that cron jobs, but you don't have Nano. What do? You use these redirection. Let's say there is some command, you redirect that to your text file. For example, I want to do echo. I think there is, yeah, you need to do this. This is from redirection, put that to my test. Okay, if this test doesn't load up, the thing which I was showing you yesterday, guys, was if you type test text, okay, and you type tab and nothing comes up and everything goes black and white, that means you're in the wrong directory. In order to know what the correct directory is, you need to type, I'm just gonna give it a moment, pwd. It'll tell you what directory you're in. That you are currently in root / desktop. So I type my echo. This is from redirection. I can do it as root. See that? It's underlining everything. That means that I'm in the correct directory. Desktop, it's underlining. I just do tab. I do test.txt. Or I can just do test.txt. What this will do is it's going to echo, that means write text. This is from redirection text into a new line in text.txt. I press enter. I do cat test.txt. This is from redirection. It does this only because you can see that everything else was deleted from it. The previous stuff which we did, okay, I set it up like that, but anyways, the previous stuff which we did was we wrote down some things from the previous module. I was showing you guys how to write it from Nano, but whenever I do one greater than sign, it deletes everything and then writes it up. But in order to do it, yep, that's right, I need to do 2 of them in order to avoid that, so that it types it into a next line. So this is from redirection, that we did that, and then I do this. The new line, hopefully this works, cat test.txt. Perfect. There we go. Like this, you can build an entire script from scratch. You can you just keep doing greater than sign, and then keep editing your script one line at a time. Once you're done with that, in order to give it execution rights, you just do chmod x text.txt. This will give them execution rights. X stands for execution. So I think, yeah, crazy ass Coop, thank you so much. That, yeah, it means appends to the next line. It doesn't delete all of the entire thing. Fun fact, I actually did this wrong in one of my first pen tests 2 years ago, and I was building an entire, I think, 18 or 25 line, I don't remember, but it was a huge code which I wrote by myself to exploit, to get privilege escalation onto a machine, and I did this. I wrote down 18 lines of code, and then last line was just one um, greater than sign, which you see over here, and it literally deleted the entire code. And I was so happy. I gave it execution rights. Once you give it that, it's very hard to edit it because it doesn't allow you to do it. But I did that, and then I ran it. It didn't run, and I was waiting for hours and hours. I was fixing it. It didn't work. Then I realized that I did a mistake. It's just two greater than signs, and that fixes it. Yeah, so this is how you give execution rights to it. If I do ls-la, you will see text.txt is colored in a different color. That is because it has a different rights of x in the end. X means everybody can execute it. I'm going to cover this later on. This is kind of an advanced topic, but I need to draw up the entire thing. But if it comes up in the syllabus, I'm going to cover that for sure. This is what this does as well. It's pretty useful. I'm going to put this in my chat for you folks to look into. Okay, moving on. 3.2, redirecting from an existing file. How do you do this? Google search. Okay, yeah, that's basically what it does. I think I covered the entire thing, but pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure this is the same thing. This is just this piping. That's what it does. Ugh, for real. ls, okay, yeah, you piped into it, you did cat, everything comes up, okay. Okay, so that's what it did. Okay, I was right. So one cool thing about Kali Linux, any Linux distribution, is piping. Piping, what it does is, if you are, say, I'm going to take the example over here so I don't butcher it. It lets you concatenate two different commands into one. So you don't have to just type two different things. Let's say, for example, I want to type over here, what is it saying? Okay, ls, and then I type la, for example. I'm gonna just do this. Head -3. All the files, which is the top 3 files which showed up, will be over here. Head means from the top, just the 3 ones, so that's just the top 3 files. But I can concatenate multiple things together. For example, I go to, I'll show you something. I go to bin, okay, there's a lot of files. Okay, I want to just get one, but I don't want to search, but I want to make sure that it's there. How do I do that? Let's say pl merge is one of the files I need, but I don't know if that is there. What do? I do a grep, ls grep. Yeah, that's true too, but sometimes you're not locating anything. For example, let's say, and there's a good point which Crazy Asco pointed out, locate. I'm going to show that. But sometimes whenever you run a privilege escalation script and you want to make sure that there was a certain escalation way, like suppose uname A, you want to know what that file was saying, what the line was saying. You just type grep uname A, uname -a, which will tell you if what's the Linux kernel version. But you wouldn't be able to scroll up because it wouldn't show up on your terminal, because the entire script runs so quickly that it's very hard to show up. You can do less and then execute that file, and it's going to do the same thing. You can just do what was it? Oh, I'm in the wrong directory, but I can do this test.txt grep perfect. What this will do is find that word redirection in their entire text.txt if it was supposed to execute, and then show me, display everything if I create a program, and it displays like a bunch of lines, like 400 different lines. I want to know which line has the redirection, because supposedly there is an important information over there for me. I want to know what that line says. So if I do grep redirection, the keyword redirection, it's going to tell me that entire line what has the redirection keyword in it. That's especially useful because if you're searching only for one thing in the entire script, you want to know that. Another thing which he pointed out was locate. In order to do locate, you need to do update db. What update db does, it just updates the entire database. Press enter, takes about a second, and after that you can just do, you know, locate so and so file. So locate pwdx, which is right over here. I'm gonna get out of this bin so it doesn't. pwdx, so it's not underlining, that means it's not finding anything. But with locate, it shows up. There are 3 pwdx files available in the entire ecosystem of my Kali. This is only for files, but if you want to do things inside the files, you need to use grep. Which is also a cool thing, which doesn't require you to do update db, but sometimes which is not installed on a Linux machine, so you need to know which, find, and as well as locate, all 3 of them, just in case nothing is available. So which pwdx shows up as over there. If I do find, wait, how do you use the find? Dash, dude, if there is a find, never used it. Yeah, that's what I did. Oh, I need to be in the directory, I think. Bin. Oh yeah, it's gonna show up for sure if I do that. Okay, find just finds that direct thing inside the directory. Not that useful, but if you do which or locate, it does much better job because it tells you that it's in this directory. For find, you need to be in that directory, which is kind of useless. You can just do ls and then find it, but it's there for you to know. Just keep in mind. Okay, grep is what I covered. SED, I don't know what that is. Let me just Google that up. Steam editor, no, that doesn't look right. Stream editor, interesting. All right. This basically does the same thing. Okay. Oh, okay. That's why. Script only if there is no other script. That's not working. There's a third search term. What do you mean? Crazy ass scoop. Okay. So they are my text files, my text.txt below 3 text. We want to print the lines who match given string. In this example, we will print the lines. Oh, this is like grep. That's what it is. Using the command P. Oh, did it delete the entire thing? Oh yeah. Weird. Kinda looks like grep though. Okay, so with the number, oh, the print the line as well. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Okay, X, Y, enter. I want to know what's on the number line, number 3. Okay, it shows up that entire line instead of just that thing. But if I do grep, let's see, cat test.txt space grep this, yeah, grep does the same job as well. I think so. No, I know so, because it's doing the same thing. With SCD it does the same thing, but SCD I think has more power because you can find the keyword from it too. That's what I did. Yeah, both do the same thing. You can replace text. Oh, that's ninja stuff. Oh yeah. So S is to replacing text. Oh, search, and then G is for replace. Oh, I see. So I can do SED, S for search, this, and then mark it as there. Sorry, I'm just not being too creative with my words. And then test.txt. Okay, so it shows up as, instead of this, it shows up as there with a capital T. I like. Alright, I'm gonna keep this safe and sound inside my new module. Dismiss. Cool. Moving on. Cut. FYI, cut does what it tells you it does, it cuts the entire thing. So let me just show you. Okay, cut option and then file. You can just select what do you want from that entire file. You just cut that out. So for example, there is a test.txt with these things. You want to cut on the file which are the 1 and 3 point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If he said or they said cut on 1, that means this is going to be displayed, and then cut on 3, which is going to mean 2, 0, 1, 2, yeah, 1 and then 3. It starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So cut 1 will be just this, and then cut 3 will be this part only. It's 0, 1, 2. Spaces are also included. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's weird. I think so, yeah. Spaces are included. Do you guys know if spaces are included? Allow. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, there's a delimiter. Okay, that way you can put spaces over here. Cool. So if I do go to Nano, sorry, I'm gonna do mouse pad. And I really want to not use this anymore. Cut Linux. Fields. The delimiter. Okay, in order to test this out, we just have to do it. Copy that, paste it, save it. So if I do cat test.txt, shows up my entire thing. What happens when I do, let me just put this over here. Okay, cut test dot the fields 0. Oh, it's from number 1. Okay, so it's not from 0. What happens at number 1? Everything shows up. What happens at number 2? 1 and 2. Everything shows up. What happens at number 1,3? Not really, dude. Not doing what I wanted to do. Let's do am I doing something wrong? I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Gee. Let's try the delimiter. Okay, so delimiter is working. Then why is the other things not working? Maybe I'm not doing something right. Or okay. I have to define. I don't know why it's not working, but essentially what it's supposed to do is this becomes one part and then that becomes the other parts, and it cuts it and displays you only those things. Kind of helps whenever you're doing a table view, but for some reason it's not working for me. I don't know why. If you guys have any input, just send it on the message. I'll take a look. Okay, so let's try this. I do an echo of hi, this is a test. And then I cut it with a delimiter of space with the field of number 2. Hopefully it tells me this. Yes. Okay, so it cuts that out, just that field, just that keyword too. That's useful whenever you're doing some kind of table work. I see. Okay, let's check something else. Moving on. AWK. I saw this yesterday while doing my when doing my Nmap or NCAT things. Kali, let's just Google search that, what it shows up. AWK reads the document one line at a time, performs the action you specify, and prints the results to a standard output. One of the most common tasks for which AWK is used is to fetch one of the columns. All AWK parameters are in quotation mark and the action to be performed is in curly bracket. Okay, here's the basic syntax. Quotation mark is the action task, as well as the actual action is in quotation mark. I see it. Cool. I like. Okay, let's just check if AWK we can do a print, which is an action because I wanted to print something, and the task as well, to file.txt. Oh, there is no file. Oh shit. Okay. Okay, so it prints that. But what if I wanted to display something, just that specific thing? What would I do? I would do this. AWK. Let's say I want to do admin. And my action, which is my task, test.txt. I think I made a mistake somewhere. Unexpected new line at the end of the string. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, there's no new line. Oh, there is. Okay. Try now. Number 2. Same thing. Okay, whenever you get this error message, I usually go right click and then copy, text paste. Let's see how we can troubleshoot this. Oh, I'm a tour. No. Weird. Okay. Man, that's too much work. AWK is definitely useful, but I'm thinking it's just on the same lines of grep as well as cut and prints out the stuff for you. I would say so. Nano Vi, I already showed you. Vi, I can show you real quick. Okay. You just edit. If you want to get into editor mode, I think you type I, and you see that insert in the bottom. That's usually shows up whenever you type I. Now you can type anything. In order to save it, you press escape, then the insert option goes away, colon WQ, and it escapes by saving it. Write it and then quit. So when I do cat test.txt, it shows up with my gibberish which I typed in the end. That's basically how VI works. It's just kind of complex because with nano text.txt, it shows up the kind of things you have to do in the bottom, all the commands, so you can easily edit it as well as compile it. But in VI, it doesn't tell you anything, expects you to know already. You cannot, I can only type it whenever I type I, and then it shows up, and then I have to press colon WQ, no, escape, colon WQ, saves it, quits it. That's it. So I've seen this before, comdiff as well as vimdiff. What these does is, if you have, they say, two files and it's too big of a file to actually see what's the difference between each of them, you can use vimdiff or just diff, and then it will show up. So let me just check what's the syntax. Okay. I usually use an online tool. I'll show you that in a minute, whenever I'm fed up with diff, because I really don't like how it works. Okay. Google search. And this is basically how you do Google search for every single tool or command. If you don't know, you just type it in and it just gives you the actual answers. We just have to just put it in. That's it. You don't have to read all the man pages and everything regards to it. Okay, so just regular diff. I need to create another file, right? ls test1.txt. Okay, cool. Diff test .txt. Hopefully nothing comes up, but if something comes up, that's great. Yeah. The only thing which is the same was nothing. So I need to type actually something similar to it. Hold on. so you guys can see. Test. I don't know why I'm a big fan of test. Everything is test. All I'm doing is comparing two files, and it will show up as the thing on. The only thing which was different is these things and then these things, but I wrote an actual thing called test on each file, and that doesn't show up. Only shows me the difference of what is there. So that way you know that if there is something different, it'll show up. So if you have two similar files, but someone made a change to that version, one of the versions, you can use this diff first file and then second file, and it will show you the only thing which is different in each file. Helps whenever you have two very identical files but want to know if you made any changes. For example, if there was an exploit you copy pasted and you downloaded, but you changed some of the things in the exploit, now it's not working, you want to know what you actually changed, you can use diff with the original file as well as the new file, modified file, and then you can find what you exactly changed and then rechange it to make sure it works whenever I'm doing exploit development. It's actually helpful. Com and Vimdiff does the same thing but in actual panes, so it's much easier to look, but I prefer it this way in different colors, so it's much easier for me to look at. I want to show what downloading files module. It's kind of helpful whenever you're doing pen testing, especially giving exams. What I was showing you earlier was how to set up Apache 2. Apache 2 sets up itself. Whenever you're doing that, you open up the port 80 on your system, so any machine can access that from that port. Second of all, you can use, if you're on a separate machine, you can use wget to get whatever files you need from there. So for example, you do wget and then the website name slash the entire website, http:// and then the IP address / as well as the actual file name. This will actually download the file to your machine. You can do this to literally anything. You can do this to any website. I can do it for any offensive security website or pretty much any website, wget, and it will download that entire website for me. Not the entire website, just that page, if it's available. So I can show you that, but I'm gonna just take a quick break. Get some lozenges for my throat. It's kind of hurting, but I'll be back in a second. Just put you guys on hold. But after that, we're just gonna jump into wget, curl, as well as Ssl, and that should be it. I covered bash history already, alias, as well as bash customization. This was in the module number 2 already on day number 2 already on YouTube. You should go check it out. It's not much to work out of. Okay, well, I'll be back in a second. Just give me a moment here. Thanks. See you soon. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I did not see that. But I was trying to show that we are pretty much at the end of the shift, end of the, not shift, but session. But it's downloading file session, so that's something which is important. When it's, let's say, whenever you are in a pen test environment where you are on your Kali machine and you already have Wget installed on your Windows machine, or it comes by default in Linux distros, you can use Wget to import files from one machine to another if you host it on your Apache server. So that's useful. Also, before I show you that, I want to show you what Python HTTP server can do. Python HTTP server can connect, can open a port on your machine in that directory only, not the entire machine, and then allow anyone to actually access that directory with that port. I can show you that by just I'm going to show you how to do this. I was just searching and finding Python HTTP server, and you just use, I think, Python HTTP server ported at 8000. The port is started, and now if I want to know how to connect to it, I can use any machine. All I have to do is know the IP address of this Kali machine, and then IP config, ifconfig. Stupid. Yep, 172.16.228.229.8, and I just go ahead and put in the same IP address. And what it's going to show me, what it's supposed to show me if this works, is all the files on the desktop directory. You can do the same in your bin directory or anything which is available. Think about that you are accessing the files in your victim machine and then you are accessing it from here on your desktop. If Python HTTP server is running over there, you don't need a special software, just Python 3 or Python 2 will work. So if I do 16.168.229.8:8000, it should show me all the things which are in my desktop. So I downloaded Ghidra last night, and all these are the ones related to it. I can just click on testing.txt.sh and it will actually download the file for me. That's the benefit of the server which is hosted. You need to make sure that Apache is running before you run this. Just helps, I guess, but it creates its own open port. You don't need to specify any separate port. Make sure it's working. But if you're running it from your HTTP HTML-www folder, you need to make sure that Apache 2 is running, because Wget is the next thing which we're going to discuss. For that, for sure, it's required. But yes, you can download any file you want. I cannot go back and forth in this because there is no directory up and down. That's because HTTP server only works from one directory. You need to be pre-mentioning where you're actually showing it from. Just like this, you can actually upload an exploit, Python exploit, to your server if HTTP is running on your HTTP server is running on your desktop. So for example, you have the exploit on desktop, you go to the web shell which you generated, and then all you do is type this, and I'm gonna do test1.txt. That's my file name, and suppose this is the exploit. All I'm doing is pressing enter and it shows up. It runs exactly the same thing on the web server, hence executing your exploit. Very helpful in pretty much all my pen tests. Without this, I wouldn't know how to do certain things in the web shell whenever I have anything uploaded. So it's very helpful. Once that is done, let's jump to Wget. Wget is pretty interesting. Examples. Oh, you again. This website gave me the wrong options earlier. Yeah, like I said, Wget is used to download the entire HTML of that website. It's helpful whenever you're doing certain things. I'm going to show you Like say for example, let's say bug crowd, not in bug crowd. Cool. Let's say for I need bug crowd's initial. I want to use wget on bug crowd. How do I do it? I need to get out of the collapse terminal. Clear wget. I need to do HTTP. Okay, hopefully it's HTTPS. Okay, I did that. Okay, it's gonna actually download the entire thing, send the request, get the request, and it's saved as index.html. I do ls, and I do cat index. I see the entire HTML which is available over here. Actual work for a wget is whenever you have your Apache 2 running, that means your port 80 is open. You can actually put a file on there, on that location. Let's say I'm going to show you actually how to do this. File system, it's in var, which is right here, www html. I have a test.txt. What does it have? Pretty much nothing. I'm going to put something in it and save it. There is something in this text.txt, and this is presumably my exploit. I need that file. I need to know how to access it, and in order to do that, I want to do wget 172. What's my IP? HTTP. There is no S because it's not secure. 172.16.229.8 dash test.txt. It downloads the entire thing. It's gonna rename it if it already exists on my desktop, which it did, and I'm gonna do cat test.txt.1. show me the entire whatever I typed in. So very helpful if you have an exploit on your system and you have wget only installed on your victim machine. Easiest way to do this is this. Just copy the exploit from here till there, and then just run it by giving chmod +x for execution, and then /run the entire exploit. That's how usually exploits work whenever you have wget only available. So that's one way to do it. Curl does the same thing as wget, and I want you to go ahead and Google that up, and Ssl, because it's the same exact thing, but it's different syntax. The reason why they give 3 different options is because sometimes some things are not installed on the machines, and you should be knowing how to do it by yourself. So do the same thing, just write down the curl command. You don't have to write the entire man page in your notes, just like wget, and then type the IP address. You can literally type the actual thing just so you can remember when the exam comes in, but write down the syntax for all 3 of them, and then keep it in your storage whenever you need it. Very helpful, because whenever you don't have certain things installed, last thing you want to do is go ahead and install those, because that takes a lot of time. Sometimes you don't have access, sometimes you don't have permissions. It's too much work, but 99% of the time something is already installed. You just have to know what it is. But that is done. I think we should be good to wrap up today. I think it's been 1 hour 30 minutes. Doorbuster, I covered that right away when we started it. This is web app pen testing. That's a different beast by itself, and I'm gonna cover that as well, but I want to keep my focus on buffer overflow for Windows, because that's something which is asked in the exam, and I want to make sure that you guys know how to do it, We are not going to do the exact replica of the textbook because I don't want to go through the textbook because it's pretty much cheating. But I'm going to go ahead and download one of the modules from one of the OVA files, which is virtual machine for buffer overflow, which has a vulnerability of buffer overflow in it. And I'm going to show you step by step on how to do it. Once you do it, you should be pretty confident in that machine, and it should be pretty easy moving forward. It's just a lot of steps. Like I said, buffer overflow is just steps. If you follow that and you understand what you're doing, you should be ship sailing, easily sailing. So I'll push that to Friday, and oh, thanks, man, Birdman, and but I'll see you guys on Friday. And if there's anything else in the meantime, and you want me to cover something, or if you have any criticism, I really love that. Please send me anything which you have on my LinkedIn. That's how I communicate with people. In the field, do you all use type 1 or type 2 virtual machines? Wait, what does that mean? Can you elaborate, please? In the field, I mean, as in when I'm doing actual pen test? Is that right? Well, he'll reply back. Type 1 has no OS between them. Both, actually. I know what you're talking about. Whenever I spin up virtual machines, there is OS installed between them for network connection. If that's what you're concerned about, yes, I do that type 2 a lot. But there was a couple of instances for a couple of companies when I did pen test for them that there was no OS installed between them. So it has to be completely isolated. But that's very rarely I do that. I did that only once. Yeah, just for isolation. Yeah, security helps with isolation, but with this, when you have an actual OS host, it's pretty hard. If that's what you mean. If you guys have any more questions, send it in the message, or you have my LinkedIn. I'm gonna actually share that so folks can know. I don't do containers within VM because my hardware is not that rigged. I don't have 64 GB of RAM. I recently installed, like 2 weeks ago before the stream started, I installed 32 gigabytes of RAM in my Mac Mini. That's why I am just testing it out. Before that it was 8 from factory settings, so I just removed the entire whole machine, swapped out the 8 and then put a 32 gigs in it, and it should be fine. I can run Docker from the actual Windows machine. That's what I do to run some of my instances, but I don't use it within a VM. It's just too much work, and I actually have one machine to work off. So I don't want to bust that up. But yes, that's possible. If you have too much resources, you can do that. All right, 2 more minutes. Let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. And I also want to be grateful as to people joining my stream. It just makes my day. At this moment, there are 5 people. Yesterday, there was 2 people. I'm grateful for even one show up. So thank you so much for showing up. Downgrade Attacks. I don't know what that is, but yeah. But thank you so much for donating your time to the stream. Hope you learned something new. Even one thing you learned something new, I think it's just an investment in your knowledge. bank. I'm gonna put this on YouTube, and then go ahead and you guys can watch it. I'll post it on Facebook as well. Sorry, LinkedIn as well, so you guys can watch it. Downgrade attacks. Now that you got me thinking. Really? I didn't know that. Learn something new. Exploits. Oh yeah, that's how the TLS 1.2 was hacked, if I'm not mistaken. They was bypassing the oh wow. I wonder if there was an actual attack except the TLS one, but they wouldn't show anything. Let's Sparker Poodle Attack. SSL 3.0. This attack demonstrated that should never be used again, not even as a legacy fallback. This article proves a high level overview of the Poodle vulnerability. Wow, learned something new. The fact that the SSL 3.0 was the one-off attack vulnerability, the Poodle attack, it became so difficult to replicate that in SSL. The same goes for SSH as well. There was one vulnerability, Diffie-Hellman vulnerable. You would be able to get, I think, this private key for the SSH and then move forward in it. But the same thing goes for this. These attacks are so hard because no company or no organization uses SSL 3.0 because they use these browsers to work out of, and if like Safari is still working on SSL 3.0, then it will be a problem. I think NetSpark would be using it. No, not NetSpark. What was that old browsers? Opera would be using it. Opera, whatever they call it. But yeah, but since they're out of business, that makes sense. Yeah, Wi-Fi has a four-way handshake. Wi-Fi, the cool thing about Wi-Fi, I'm just gonna take a couple of minutes from here because it's interesting to me. Wi-Fi has a four-way handshake because if you actually if you use a de-authenticator, and I have that, I'll show you in my next session. If you use a de-authenticator, Wi-Fi has an inbuilt vulnerability of authenticating anyone who tries to join in. So if you do these DDoS attacks on specific Wi-Fi networks, only 2.4, 5.0 doesn't work. So 5 gigahertz doesn't work, only 2.4 works. And pretty much everyone uses 2.4 except Starbucks because they use 5. They got messed up pretty bad. You can use a small ESP chip, and you can buy that from Amazon and run that up with the Wi-Fi deauth attack script on your GitHub. I'll show you that. Oh, there's this deauth.me. Yeah, this dude actually did that, and he created a Wi-Fi deauther chipset. I have it. I'll show you guys if it's somewhere in there. And you do next start. Where's Amazon? Yeah, basically this. I have this with myself. It just scans the entire thing, selects attacks, packet injection, everything with it. I use this to test out new routers which I buy, if I buy, to make sure that they're working. It captures the attacks and then de-authenticates it, captures the handshake, de-authenticates it. I have another module which captures the handshake as well as gets the handshake partial or full handshake to your system in the form of hashes. I use hashcat to decrypt it and then do a dictionary attack to get the passwords for the Wi-Fi. Very helpful if you're using this on your own network. Do not use this on your neighbor's network to get Wi-Fi. Don't be that cheap. Get your own Wi-Fi. It's 2021. But it's helpful to test out routers and how efficient they are in decrypting it. But this deauthentication attack is inbuilt problem with Wi-Fi 2.4 networks. With Wi-Fi 6, I think this vulnerability has been gone, but I don't have Wi-Fi 6, so I don't know how to test it. But I would think that with Wi-Fi 6 of new Google routers, this thing is gone. But it'll be interesting to know if it is not gone and if this is inbuilt for everything. But yeah, you can use Wi-Fi to get their Wi-Fi passwords through this to block it, and then you use Panagachi this is a script written by this dude, really cool. There's an entire documentations on it on a Raspberry Pi Zero. I had that on my Raspberry Pi Zero. I just removed it, but it basically captures a four-way handshake, stores it into your memory card, and then waits until you remove the card and then crack it with the hashcat. This runs non-stop 24/7 365 as long as it's plugged into a power cord. So pretty nifty trick. User's ID number, I don't know what that is, but it displays the MAC address as well as the Wi-Fi name. So for example, if the Wi-Fi name is Google Wi-Fi, it's going to show Google Wi-Fi with the name as well as the MAC address, so you can verify if it's an actual Google thing. The number that goes up one per message, I think so. Which is, oh, you mean this over here or what? Never did that. I don't know what exactly you're talking about. You just crack the handshake, dude. You don't actually exploit anything in the handshake. Yeah. Not really following, but maybe I'm too. Each time you talk, your number increments by one. You mean each time you connect, number increments by one? If you can send me an example link, I think I'll get the idea. If you get their number, you can bump them off and take their connections. Oh, okay. I think what you're saying is in respect to this, the deauthentication attack, you try to push yourself you try to push so many packets inside the whole network, create a bottleneck effect where the bottle is only this much and the entire the neck is only this much, and there is so much it can go inside it, and that's how you kick other people off that network. That's what I think what you mean, because if I generate a 2.4 gigahertz network on my phone hotspot, I can use this deauthentication attack to start pushing a ton of bytes into it, packets, and then it'll kick off all the people who are connected to my hotspot. If that's what you mean, then yeah, I get it. That's pretty helpful, because it's pretty dangerous too, because it won't let you connect to anything. It helps whenever you have noisy neighbors. Pretty bad cybersecurity they have. So they use 2.4 networks and then run their entire jukebox. You kick off one particular person. That's interesting. I need to do more research on that. How to kick off one person from the entire network rather than kicking off everybody else. That will be more useful. But you need to know the MAC address. I think with Aircrack NG and these special alpha routers, you can deauthenticate only one MAC address. So for example, whenever I was doing particular web app pen testing, I wanted to check the network security of particular company or their infrastructure. I use these attacks to kick off people from the network through Aircrack NG, and that worked very easily. And because it lists you all these MAC addresses of these users, you cannot just bump off people. I don't know if you can, but I never used it. You cannot bump off people just because of that number, but you can definitely do it with the MAC address if you have it, because that's how you identify devices, right? But anyways, I gotta head off here. I gotta go fishing today. It's still sunny outside, so there's a small lake next to my house, and I'm gonna go fish over there, catch some nice fish, trout or bass, or probably whatever is available. But once that is done, I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you so much for joining in, tuning in, and spending your time with me. I'm very grateful that you guys are here, and until next time, see you then.